What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can see from this very extreme look, we're going to be doing an eyeshadow tutorial. Well, eyeshadow, lip, and highlight tutorial kind of thing, if you know what I mean. My base will already be on anyways. So today we're going to be doing a tutorial on the brand new Lime Crime Venus 3 eyeshadow palette. This is where grunge meets heavenly, and it's going to be more of that purple, a very softer version of Venus. I personally think this is definitely the softest Venus palette, because the first one was just so innovative, being that coral, burnt red, and kind of orangey kind of vibe. Second one being so like subculture like, and it being more like the mustard and the yellow and the blue, and then of course Venus XL, which is more the berries and the reds and the burnt oranges and the rustic kind of colors. This one's just going to be a lot more of that purpley kind of heavenly colors. So anyways, if you want to see a tutorial of what I did with this palette on my eyes and being very extreme, then keep on watching. I zoomed you guys in nice and close. We're just going to dive right into this palette. This is the Lime Crime Venus 3 eyeshadow palette. You're going to get 8 shades that are inside of here. There's supposed to be more of a grungy meets heavenly kind of vibe for this palette, which doesn't seem to be too bad, but I do have to say, just by looking at the colors itself, I do feel like there could have been a little bit more of a range, I would say. I mean, yes, there's only supposed to be 8 shades, but you know, I feel like some shades could be different and some shades could be this and that. So, but that's just my personal opinion. I do not work for Lime Crime, so of course I'm gonna just play with it and see what look I can come up with myself. So before we go right in, I'm gonna show you guys some swatches. So we have Dreamy, Beam, Heavenly, Rapture, Ecstasy, Paradise, Bliss, and Beloved. Dreamy, Rapture, and Ecstasy, and a little bit of Paradise were kind of really hard to swatch. I feel like I had to do so many different coatings of those just to kind of get some pigmentation out of them. But Beam, Heavenly, Bliss, Beloved, those ones really did blend really nicely as a swatch. So of course we're just going to dive right into this palette and see what kind of look we're going to come up with. So first off, we're going to go in with the shade Dreamy, just for the crease. With a smaller fluffy brush, I'm going to go in with the shade Bliss in the crease, just to kind of add a little bit more color to this. Now that I blended Bliss and Dreamy together, I'm going to go in with the shade Paradise. Now I know this is like almost like a metallic purple, but it doesn't really go on like shiny, so I'm going to just kind of use that in my crease just to kind of add a little bit more definition just right in here, just because I want to add a little more fun purple. We're severe up in here. I'm going to go in with Dreamy, Bliss, and Paradise again, just for my lower lash line. I'm going to see what happens when I just kind of like do it a little bit more like a tight lined effect and see how they blend. Trust me, I planned on this look being extra. So, anyways, we're going to go in with the shade Ecstasy right here, just for the outer corners, to add a little bit more flair. For our lid color, I'm going to take my finger, obviously, and we're going to go in with the shade Beam right here, because I feel like that color would be really pretty on the lid, and I really feel like Heavenly would really be pretty as an inner corner brow bone highlight. So let's just dive right in. I want the lids to pop a little bit more, so I'm going to go in with the Diamond Dew in the shade Pixie. Pop Beam right back over top. Much better. In the corner above on highlight, we're going to go in with the shade Heavenly right here and see how much pigmentation we're going to get from that. Now that the lashes are on, the eyes are complete. It is now time for some highlight, because that's what we're missing right now. Before we go in with lip, I'm going to go in with the Highlights Fairies Lime Crime Highlighting Palette. I'm going to use the shade Enchantment right here, because I feel like that's just going to be like that nice, soft, kind of champagne-y, peachy kind of color to go well with these eyes. But not least, we're going to go in with the lip, and we're going to go in with the Lime Crime Velveteen in Prairie. There you have it. This is the final, very extreme, heavenly, grungy look that I did with the Lime Crime Venus 3 eyeshadow palette. Now, really quickly, I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts on this palette. This palette is $38, so it's definitely the same price as the other Venus palettes, besides the Venus XL. That one's a little bit pricier because there's more shade options, but this one has 8 shades in it, just like the other Venus palettes do. This one I feel, personally, and I believe Dupe That also talked about it as well, I felt like the first one and the second one definitely did pave the way for a lot of eyeshadow palettes. The first one was like very peachy, very different, very grungy in its reddish, peachy way, if that makes sense. And it was just like more like those burnt orangey colors. And the second one was very grungy, being like that mustard color, that really bright blue, the greens, etc. It was very odd and different. And then this one, I feel, is just kind of still in the same range of being in a different like trend in each palette, but I feel like this trend has already been done, while the other two definitely were like the pavements that made the way for those other trends, if that makes sense. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a terrible palette, I'm just saying that I personally would have loved to have seen a different vibe that was not the norm, if that makes sense. Like this palette, definitely this year, purple is everything, as you can tell from my eyes. I love purple. I do love purple, but I feel like a lot of palettes have been doing purple recently, and I would have loved to have seen something different and push the boundary. Even if it was purple, push it even farther, you know what I mean? But the colors blended really beautifully. I feel like Beam and Heavenly, I feel like you definitely have to wet the brush or use your finger if you want to add a little bit more flair to it. But the rest of the colors did blend better on the eye than when they were swatched, if that makes sense. So this palette's $38. You can pick this up at Ulta.com, Limecrime.com, I believe Riley Rose as well now, and I believe Riley Rose stores too, so I'm not exactly sure. But if you're a fan of the Venus palettes and you're a fan of Lime Crime's formulas, I definitely recommend picking this one up, especially because I love to complete a collection. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you thumbs it up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the very near future. Love you. Bye.